not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, all, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm. As always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing a portion of your afternoon with me. So I have a very specific show planned. We're going to be talking about the state of the state. And we have as our special guest, S. Ali McIntosh. But before we bring her into the studio, this has been a really busy week as far as news is concerned. And we have received word that Long Island MP Adrian Gibson and his co-defendants, those who could not make bail yesterday and spent the night at Her Majesty's pleasure, have now been released on bail. His lawyers were busy at it this morning, trying to make sure that his bail requirement was met. And about 26 minutes ago or so, Long Island MP Adrian Gibson was released on bail. Shelley Lewis is down at the court. She told me it's a media frenzy down there. And so I guess, we will hear more on that a bit later on. Also in the news, we received word today that our Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, has tested positive for COVID. This is after returning from the Summit of the Americas, where you would have it that the Canadian Prime Minister has COVID. So he probably picked it up there at the Summit of the Americas. But our Prime Minister now has COVID once again. You may recall that he had COVID some time back and was flown to Atlanta, where his daughter is a doctor, and was treated there and returned home. And now he has COVID again. The good thing, though, is this variant of COVID-19 that is now spreading like wildfire is extremely mild. This is extremely mild. I have to be careful how I say this because I don't want it to be taken the wrong way. But if there was ever a time that you should catch COVID, it's now. Because we know that once you get it, you naturally develop antibodies. If you can catch COVID, now's the time to catch it, because this is such a mild variant. It pretty much, as someone who just overcame it a couple of weeks ago, who had COVID, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, I really honestly thought it was the flu. I didn't even know I had COVID until I was pretty much almost over it. And I decided, you know what, go get tested just to be sure. And was kind of surprised at the results. So if there is ever a time, I say that to say that even though the Prime Minister has tested positive, we shouldn't be, it ain't that serious. It's really a very mild variant that is circulating now. So hopefully the Prime Minister will get well soon. I'm sure he will be fine and be able to carry on with the business of running the country. And speaking of which, that brings me to the point where I want to introduce our guest for today. You can bring her into the studio now. We are going to be talking today to someone who is well known here in the Bahamas. She's no stranger to any of you because she has for decades been at the forefront of politics, leading a political party as a servant leader. But she has recently published a book that she has written called how to reconstruct a nation, righteous principles for national leadership and governance. And I speak of none other than S. Ali McIntosh, who is no stranger to the show. Welcome, Ali, back to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle. It is good to be here. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. So we have a lot to talk about. We have to talk about the state of the state, meaning the state of our nation as it is now, and what we should be doing to come up to a higher level of statehood. And I thought you would be great to have this discussion, seeing that you have written this book on how to reconstruct a nation, because in many ways, you know, we're almost like an oxymoron. Because what do I mean by that? We have the third highest, what do you call it, in the Western Hemisphere, the third highest.
Crime? Is it crime per capita?
No, not crime. I'm talking about our economy. You know, we're following only the United States and Canada. We have the third highest per capita. Yes, third highest in the Western Hemisphere. If you look at our GDP, you would think that the Bahamas is, you know, well into being a full-fledged developed country, you know. But on the same token, at the same time, while we have all of these wonderful things that we can be proud of, they say we have $1 trillion economy. You would never know that driving through the inner city. You would never know that looking at the health status of our people. You would never know that looking at the illiteracy rate. And when I say illiteracy rate, we have a lot of people who passed out of high school, but they can't read and write. And so, and then also considering that the threshold for what is termed literacy it's a very low bar. Literacy is termed as if you can write your name, spell and write your name. But when you're talking about true literacy, we have a deplorable record. So we are in many ways an oxymoron, because on paper, in some aspects, we look like we're doing very, very well. But unfortunately, that has not trickled down to most of our people. Why do you think that this is?
That is a very interesting opening. And I'd say thank you for having me today. Thank you for those who are joining us in this regard. It was just a little absent-minded trying to share the program to Facebook. But I do believe, as you say, to some degree, there is an oxymoron in regards to what we say on paper and what we are now. It has taken me close to the 20 years to write the book, How to Reconstruct a Nation. I haven't been writing it for 20 years. I have just been back and forth in terms of adding stuff, seeing what works and doesn't work. And this is the book, How to Reconstruct a Nation. I'm having a little difficulty as to where my camera is. But this is the book, How to Reconstruct a Nation. It was published last year. It was officially launched January of this year in Atlanta, Georgia, in order to bring to the nation's attention and what we have on paper, as you say, and what we actually is actualizing is not the same thing. It is very a little pathetic, I would say, because when leaders speak out of their mouth what their country should be, it should be that we could do better in the leadership of the nation to inspire the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, to inspire the residents and the citizens, the citizenry, to aspire for greatness, to be all that they can be. I don't think that is happening in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas with the leadership or with the people. Else, I would not be out here pushing for us to look at and actually implement other forms of leadership that will help do some of the things that I'm saying in regards to inspiring and pushing the people to be the greatest that they can be.
Now, before we go any further, I just want to make a correction to something I said at the beginning of the show. I said that the Prime Minister tested positive, but I'm seeing now where Clint said he tested negative for COVID-19. So I just want to clarify that real quick before we go any further. The test followed reports that Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has tested positive for the virus. So the Prime Minister has not tested positive for COVID-19 and is in fact COVID-free. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, so we have to talk about, Ali, what can we do to even the playing field? Because we do have in our nation some people, groups of people who are doing exceptionally well. Really ain't feeling for much, but the vast majority of Bahamians are not enjoying a good quality standard of living. And ideally, I would think that the goal of any government is to ensure that its people across the board are living their best lives possible. So I know in your book you covered quite a bit of ground as to what we need to do to turn this thing around. But what would you say is the principal, the core of the problem in terms of what we need to do to make this work, make this more attractive, make this, provide a better standard of living for all Bahamians, not just a handful?
Okay, before I answer that question, are you all right with my fan? I want to make sure it is not disturbing our.
No, we're not hearing any noise.
Okay, that's good. That's quite fine.
Yeah.
What I want to say, and what I have indicated in my book, in almost every chapter, as we look at the core values of the Constitution, which I have determined and which I know to be so based on the founders, based on what they have told me, Lyndon Pindling, Sir Randall Fox, in their last 2 years of life, kind of mentored me, gave me information on what the founders intended in terms of the creation of the modern Bahamas. So the preamble of the Constitution lists the values, I think it's about 7 of them, to be criteria for governance. If these values are inculcated in how we govern and also in the leaders of the nation, we will find a different results. One of the primary problem I see, Michelle, is the fact that we don't do what we say, and we don't live what we want people to live. If leaders and the people are governed by the same rule or by the same concept of governance, the rule of law, we would be fine. But rulers don't always do and want the people to do what they do. They actually, like the saying goes, do as I say and not as I do. But in order for us to have good governance, we must go with the words of the Apostle Paul that say, follow me as I follow Christ. If leaders were doing and asking people to do the same thing and live in the same standard that they live, and also to do the same thing they do, we would see a different kind of country. But we are seeing one rule for leaders and one rule for the people. And obviously, when that happens, we will see a division in regards to whether the people are prospering or only the leaders are prospering. Or and only the people are being judged and the leaders are getting off scot-free.
And that leads to a level of dissatisfaction that can spill over into other aspects of our society. So if I feel disenfranchised, if I feel that, you getting, you know, 3/4 of the pie, and the last quarter left for all us to split, and I only getting a crumb. If that, I some people ain't gonna take to that too well, and will start to lash out and do things that are counterproductive for society. So you're talking about a situation that really will impact us all if not addressed.
That, in fact, that is the greater part of why we are seeing so certain level of repercussion in the society. People are going to take their own justice. People are saying, well, listen, if he can do it, I can do it too. People are saying, I can't seem to get justice, so I will go and take it for myself. And Michelle, you are so right. That is a very livid point in which people, even in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, are considering that they are being disenfranchised. And so I must do what I have to do. You know, we tell people buy local, but the prices are so astronomical in local. And you go to the United States, you buy a product for $5 and bring it home. You may pay duty, or you may pay custom duty, or you may not when you bring it back. But then when you get in a store, it's $25. You're like, I'm not buying local. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to save my money along with my family. We're going to go and buy stuff and we're going to bring it back. But people are having a problem with that. But the point is, you're not giving us a way to feel satisfied and not disenfranchised by what the authorities, what the oligarchy, what those who command the control of this economy is doing. And so we're having people having to do opposite of what the leaders are telling you to do.
That leads us to the point of these values that you're pointing out, that are part of our preamble. And the first is the value of self-discipline. Um, I said it on the show the other day that the best, Pastor Miles always used to say, the greatest government in the world is self-government. Because if you can discipline yourself, if you can govern yourself, you don't need external government. You don't need, if I can govern myself, I don't need somebody telling me that you have to stop at the red light. I don't need somebody telling me that I shouldn't steal. I shouldn't harm somebody. I shouldn't, because the best government is self-government, self-discipline. But that seems to be eroding at a frightening level in this country, where not only is it not popular to be self-disciplined, but it seems more popular to be, the wilder and wackier and more ridiculous you get, the more praise you seem to get in this country. It's like we've turned things upside down.
Well, we do live in a society, and in fact, a time, Michelle, where people are calling good evil and evil good. So when we get there, we know only thing can be created from that particular value in society is chaos. And so we are looking at a society whose values are being lowered based on the fact that everybody is doing it. And because everybody is doing it, they feel they have to do it. We are mentoring. See, the leaders in the society, and it's all in my book, is leaders in the society are the parents in the nation. So when the leaders in the society do something, they are giving permission for the children or the citizenry to do the same. I'm not saying that in any way to make people feel that leaders should talk to the citizenry different. We are talking that on the line or on the platform of being the example that has to be promoted in the society. Because that is happening and people are not seeing leaders do what they do, they're doing whatever they're doing. And that is causing a serious level of chaos in society. And at that point, we see happening in the society, and it has not just started, what we see in the Bahamas today. I'm not talking about everybody else's country now. Let's just talk about home. Because when we extend to other countries, that's fine, which the book does do. But we are talking about what is happening here as the state of the state, as for your program's theme today.
Mm-hmm. Is that a caller for the show? Okay, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good, I was honestly hoping just to listen today, but you're going to have wonderful Ali McIntosh on your show. Hi, Ali. How you doing? This is JT here. I'm inclined to call today and contribute, Michelle, because of something I was talking about earlier today. Excuse me. on another show, and I want to ask Ali first of all, in regards to the book that she's written. I'm assuming, Ali, that your book is based on God's principles of good and proper governance, correct?
Yes, it's righteous principles for national leadership and governance.
Wonderful.
Subtopic.
I mean, wonderful. Um, one of the things that I can see in regards to this country, the state of the state, politicians, for the most part, are going to have to be made to clearly understand that they have been put there by God, the true and the living God. Many of them may say that, or I should say, some of them acknowledge that because they know that. But generally, a lot of them, when they say that, it is my view that they're only being patronizing. When God established human government, He did not establish the nature of government as is being practiced in the world today, but He established the institution of it. So what I'd like to ask of you, Ali, and by the way, Michelle, I would have known Ali, wow, from way back when she was at ZNS, when she even went off to Washington way years ago and started the research on this book.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I was able to appreciate her journey. So I want to, by the way, commend you, Ali, for finally having that book out.
Thank you.
And I hope it's in an audio format so that JT and others who cannot physically see would be able to at least listen to it on tape, since we won't be able to physically
We're working
read it.
on that. We're
Wonderful.
working on that.
Wonderful. Now, Parliament, governments of this country, many people seem to have a problem with God being in human government. So what I'd like to ask of you, Ali, how will you, if you had the opportunity right now to instruct the leaders of government as to what they ought to do in order for this country to become to be led by a righteous, God-based government, what would be the three things, and I'll hang up after I will have asked, what will be the three things that you would instruct them that they need to do now to turn this country from the wrong way it's going to the right way that it needs to go? Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks for calling.
That's a big what you call it question, right? Let me say something to everybody before I actually answer that question. Is that I do have an ebook available for those who may not be able to read this 400-page book. We do have an ebook available that's only the first 5 chapters. That has cost me a lot to actually do that, but I believe that is a gift to the Bahamian people, so that they would know, actually, Michelle, how and why we have come to this point in the nation and what is their responsibility. So if anyone wish to access that ebook, which is the first 5 chapters of this book, you can go to howtoreconstructanation.com, howtoreconstructanation.com, and you can have a copy of the free book. You can download it or you can read it online. It is a gift, my gift to the Bahamian people, that those first 5 chapters are able to enrich you to know the details. The remaining chapters, obviously, Michelle, tells the leaders how we should reconstruct the nation. To answer JT's question, my book starts, the introduction of my book says, you must live with people to know their problems and live with God to solve them.
That's powerful.
The reason that I said that as the first phrase in the introduction of this book is that a lot of people believe, like JT say, that we should not put God in the governance of the nation. But JT is so correct when he indicated that God orchestrated, organized, and sanctioned human government. This is to go in relation also with what we begin to speak about self-discipline and self-government. That is the first thing that people needs to do, and even this nation, leaders of this nation, if they want to turn the nation around. Of course, you must live with people. You must know their problems. We are not living in a utopia, and neither am I with the writing of this book. But we must also live with God to solve them. Without a relationship with God, then you have no access to His divine wisdom. and his divine knowledge. God still speaks. He still has a mouth. So he can still say, do this, do that. This is what needs to be done to reduce the deficit, to expand the economy. God has wisdom. This is the God who created this universe, who put the stars in place, the moon in place, brings the sun up every day, put it down every night. And we are able to stay on the ground based on gravity. These are things in which a greater force than ourselves has produced for us to live. So knowing him will be your first access to turning a nation that you govern around. Blessed is the nation, number one, whose God is the Lord, and the leaders who lead it must also know him. The second thing, in terms of JT's question, is that the people must know their responsibility in regards to citizenry or their citizenship. If you have never read the Constitution or the preamble of the Constitution as a Bahamian, then that means you have no idea what your responsibility is. Your responsibility is to vote, but it is not just to vote for anyone. It's to vote for someone based on your Constitution in terms of whether they qualify to govern or whether they are not. That's the second thing. The Bahamian people must know what they are supposed to do. So part of what needs to happen and what will be happening in the next year, 2 or 3 years, will be teaching the nation as to what your responsibility as a citizen and how you can take back the power to do what it is you must do as a citizen. He might want a third one. We probably can answer that a little later, Michelle. But I will go with
JT always call and be giving these people these quiz and thing on the show.
And such a man.
Come on, man. You ain't gonna answer 1 or 2. You want 3?
Yeah. Listen here, he is such. He's been my friend for at least 30, 34, 35 years. So we know where JT is going, but he has a wonderful heart in terms of how we get into
of course, I'm only pulling his leg. Somebody's trying to call the WhatsApp line. People, that's the WhatsApp line for messages, not for calls. The numbers to call if you would like to participate in the show are 326-0271, 326-0271. One more time, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line to send us a message, not to call. It's 824-9952. 824-9952. We are talking to the servant leader and author, S. Ali McIntosh, about the state of the state. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at other values that are in the preamble of our Constitution that could help govern us and help uplift us to a higher state. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a living tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company, along with my guest today, S. Ali McIntosh. We are discussing the state of the state. Ali last year released a new book that she's written called How to Reconstruct a Nation, Righteous Principles for National Leadership and Governance. And she's here today to talk about, we're talking about the principles of governance and what we need to be doing as a nation to come up higher. Lord knows we need to come up higher. We've been sailing, not sailing, but we've been, soaring, flying way too low, way too low. We got to come up higher. And so this is what we're talking about on the show today. Now, she's mentioned that she has an ebook that is available that offers you the first 5 chapters of the book that is covering the vision and mission. And you will get in those first 5 chapters how it all began, with it, which is her testimony, Divine Revelation for the Bahamas, editorial on the real statistical data, the father of the nation, Sir Lyndon Pinling, and what the founding fathers envisioned. But we primarily in this show are talking about the second 5 chapters of the book, which are covering the principles of leadership. Is that a caller for the show? We have a caller online. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yeah, welcome. How you doing?
Great.
How you doing today, Michelle?
Good. How you doing?
I'd like to say a special hello to the gatekeeper. Long time no hear from. How you doing, Miss McIntosh?
Hi, Mr. Gatekeeper. I'm good.
We could hardly hear you all of a sudden, Ali. I don't know why your audio went very low.
I'm telling Mr. Gatekeeper I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss McIntosh, it's good. Your book is very timely. And these days, you know how the gatekeeper goes. This is still the shift of the paradigm, the new generation. It's still a fight. And I think your book will be timely. I think we should put it in the school as a part of the curriculum. Also, I want to ask you, this administration, what do you see different from the previous administration, not only the one we just put out of power, previous administration? What do you see different? Did you see, I see Mr. Davis, Honorable Davis, pull a page out the Lyndon book. I don't know if you paid attention. We are the gatekeeper, so you should know that page and he's pulling out the book.
I didn't hear the question.
I say, if you was paying attention, see Mr. Davis, the Honorable Mr. Davis, is pulling a page out of the Linden book. And you know you are the gatekeeper, so am I. And that page, if he pulled that page in the book, and I think we will have a turnaround. If not, we're going back to the same old, same old. You have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. I guess that was more of a comment than a question, Ali. All right. So the second value that you talk about in the book is the value of industry, which is, boy, we need a lot of help in this area. The value of understanding that there is value in all forms of honest work. You know, for a long time, we as a country, we were living off of the spoils of a false economy during the time of the drug trade. But I mean, you know, when it was rampant. And it got to the point where there was an erosion for the appreciation of honest work. Young people especially were like, well, get a job, work. Why? When I could go sell some drugs on the corner and live large and live better than, you know, y'all who walk around in suit, etc. So you have this whole generation, I would say, of certain classes of certain aspects of our community who did not have an appreciation or value for work because they saw the fast money. And unfortunately, many passed that value or lack thereof to their children. And so we have a society now where I remember when I was working in, and don't get me wrong, things change. So, you know, there's so many more opportunities nowadays when you're talking about the digital economy and all these things that were not in existence many years ago. But it still doesn't change the fact that many people simply, especially younger people, they just don't want to work because they see that as, you know, why should I go do that? What are your thoughts on that?
The idea or the chapter on value really explores a lot of other things in addition to the matter of work. But I do believe, Michelle, the values as articulated in the preamble of the Constitution must apply also to the leader. They must have a concept of value. They must have a concept, because their concept pushed on the people is going to make the people feel whether they appreciate it, whether they are collecting the garbage or they are an attorney. What I find to be a problem is that a lot of what, and I didn't really thought of this, but I'm thinking about this, I'm going to say this, is that when we look at how we pursue who governs the nation, we have found that even the people push the idea that the only people who should be in parliament should be lawyers or possibly a doctor. They don't think it should be a person who work in a community or who are even a person who might be involved in collecting the garbage. I know Ron Pinder, when he was the member of parliament, he used to jump on that truck and he used to go and he used to grab that garbage bin and throw it in there.
I recall that,
He showed something, and I endorsed him at the time because when I gave him a litmus test, when we first started writing the book, he scored very high in that litmus test. Because that is what we want. We want inspiration that every job in the society is of value. If we put the plumber down, if we put the teacher down or the nurse down, we are saying to people, don't be that, man, that's not the best job to be. But what will we do when we go in the hospital if there's no nurses? In that regard, I want to support the nurses now. They've agreed to strike because they're crying for the very thing that the government of the Bahamas campaigned on, that they would have the nurses. So you get the government and you forget the people that you campaign on. And I'm saying that because we have to value every value that comes to the table. whether you collect the garbage, whether you fix the plumbing, whether you teach, whether you do the nursing, whether you even an auxiliary nurse that just cleans up the puke in the garbage in the stool.
Well, imagine if that person wasn't there. Imagine
Imagine.
what the environment would be.
Yeah,
So,
and so we must bring value to every value, and it has to start from the very top. That the people going to Parliament shouldn't only be lawyers. They shouldn't only be lawyers and doctors and rich people, because when you do that, some of these people do not and cannot relate to people who are poor in the society, and so they make decisions from a different perspective. And there we have a problem that's persisting over and over, where when people who are governing us cannot relate to our problems, they are not going to make decisions for our welfare.
we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. You need to turn your radio or whatever you're listening to us on. You need to turn that down, please, because we're getting feedback. And go ahead, we're listening.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Yes, I am calling to piggyback off this Ali McIntosh, which he's talking about.
Okay. Go ahead, we're listening.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Ms. McIntosh, gatekeeper again. I was just talking to you about the page that the Honorable Brave Davis pulling on the filling on the book, and that's the labor page. Yes, I was just talking about the page that Ms. McIntosh.
Yes, I can hear you.
I was just talking about the page that they put on the Linden, followed Brave Davis followed the book of Linden, and that was the labor page. And the same thing that you're talking about now, there has to be a stability in the labor area. The wheel of the country is the workers of the country. And when you have the wheel of the country is broken down, the whole economy, the whole system is totally destroyed. If he on the page for the labor movement to move through and the unions to represent the people like it should be, I think we'll have better workplace and better human beings in the country. Because in the workplace today, it's deplorable. I am still a worker. I work, so I know. I've been working for a straight team, Ms. McIntosh. As a bus boy in the hotel, making $96 every week. And I'm 58 today, working in the gaming industry. Ain't nothing much change. So how you tell me if I get all of these diplomas and all of these degrees, then I must go and work for little or nothing? No, the young people want to work. We need to change the system. There's a shift in the new generation. It's not the same old, same old.
Okay, you want to let her respond to you?
Yes, ma'am.
I think I think he's insisting for me to respond to this matter of Mr. Davis pulling a page out of Celinda's book. I must say that Mr. Davis, as he begins this administration, we can be made aware that there is a lot of young people that is around him. There's a lot of professionals who are now advising him as to what to do, what to say, what to focus on. But I must say that Mr. Davis has sat in the administration of all the other administrations that I have identified in this book. And I'm saying that to say, what we are seeing now, obviously was not necessarily what we've seen in his tenure of those other administrations. However, if Mr. Davis wants to succeed, he must do different. He must be different. What he gives to the public must be different, and who he is must be different. I'm saying that because people, as we said earlier, look at as examples. They look at inspiration as to what leaders bring to the table, as to whether they're inspired to feel comfortable as citizens where they live. In regards to the labor situation, the PLP obviously campaigned on issues regarding labor, but I still see the nurses crying. I see the public service union crying, the teachers union crying. So if you're going to pull a page out of Celinda's book, you have to deal with the people who who leaders sometimes consider at the lower edge or echelon of this whole thing, the lower edge of the structure of the society. The nurses are crying because nurses are paid $12 an hour to do the work they do. I mean, listen, I've been in the hospital twice, and the nurses took care of me before the doctors ever got there. We can't pay them the least because people in the United States at Burger King and Chick-fil-A make more than $12 an hour. Nurses make $40 to $50 an hour elsewhere. So we have to consider that. The teachers are complaining of the very same thing. So if you're going to be an administration there, let's go straight to that point. The third point is, in terms of public service union, we have people who have been employed by this administration, and for 3 months they have not been paid. These are people who are breadwinners for their family, but they must depend on their family for 3 months before they are paid in order to go to work every day on the government's job. So if you are going to take a page out of Salinden's book, take the page that those who are on the lower end of the spectrum should be treated better. Don't treat them like they are nothing, and don't pay them for 3 months and expect them to come to work every day. Don't expect the nurses to work 30 hours overtime and not be paid. Don't expect the teachers or the public servants in the administration to go to work every day, do their job, go off to school, spend money, online courses, and then don't be rewarded for that. So if you're going to take a page of the book, take a page out of my book and get to the point where you are taking care of the lowest of the lowest because their job matters. That's what should be done.
Let's talk about the other aspect of the value of industry in your book, because I only covered one small part of it, which is work ethic and the desire to work. But you went much further in the book when you dove into the value of industry. Let's talk about that.
Okay. When we talk about, there's another aspect where we talk about education, of course, and how not only what should be done in terms of teachers and how their focus should be, but we talk about another aspect about long-term development and national development. Of course, part of what the book is about also is for us to come up with a national development plan that actually works for all industries. To a great degree, when we plan for national development, politicians only deal with the 5 years that they're in office. And because they are only trying to do things to get elected for today, a national plan and a national plan commission has to go beyond an administration. And I have seen over the last 20 years, I have been a reporter, as you know, 35 years ago, we all started at the same time. Mm-hmm. So even though we've not been a reporter, we've always watched the road. However, the governments have always looked just at the 5 years they're coming to office. We can't do that. The plan has to have specifics. And I think according to page 128 in the book, you will see what a national development plan has to do in terms of providing broad structure to be able to evaluate who should be working, why they should be working. Let me indicate really quickly, identify who we are as a people. Now we have to get back to the beginning, reconstructing the nation. So when we're looking at a national development plan, if we're just looking at ideas, we talk about the red, the blue, the green, the yellow, the orange economy, but they have to be based on something. Mm-hmm. Who we are as a people has to be defined, the primary concern in a national development plan. And when that plan, it has to take into account culturally, spiritually, who we are, what our purpose is as a nation. We have to also define some of the impediments of good governance that we have been entertaining and been perpetuating. And I'm going to be just identify one or two of those things. Mm-hmm. We have to also identify industries that are feasible in the nation and studies for these kind of projects for long term, not just as a government, but as the people in the nation. So government has to encourage industry from the people in the nation, which is a farmer. Think about it, a farmer. A farmer is a very important person in the nation. Mm-hmm. Yet successive governments have pushed them away, refused to speak to them, and identify the causes or the things that needs for their industry to grow.
Right.
So all of these has to be taken into consideration. But you go from there, and then I'll get back to another point.
All right. The numbers to call if you'd like to join in on the conversation are 3260271, 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line to send us a message, 824-9952, 824-9952. Somebody is asking Ali, how can we get a book? Love Miss McIntosh's approach to governance.
Or they can go online, the website, How to Reconstruct a Nation. All of the information is there, whether they want to order it, it's according to where they are. Well, I am in the Bahamas at this point. Right now, that they can call me 423-2709. I do have copies of my book that's available for sale. If they are not in the capital or in the United States, anywhere else, they can go ahead on the website, howtoreconstructanation.com, and they will find where they can order a book. That can come straight to them.
All right. My laptop is acting up once again, so I'm not sure what is on the screen, and my producer is not at his desk to take over the controls. So in case those of you are watching on Facebook, you're only seeing Ali, then just bear with us. As soon as this stops freezing, I'll be able to update it on my end until my producer gets back to his desk. Not sure where he went. Okay, here he comes. Okay, let's see if we can get this back up here.
There you go.
All right, there we go. Okay. All right, so for those of you just joining us, we are talking to S. Ali McIntosh, servant leader and author of the book, How to Reconstruct a Nation. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Just calling to say you're doing a good job.
Thank
Keep
you.
it up. And let Ali also know that they do have in the budget for the nurses and the teachers.
All right.
For when it's coming up like July. They did announce that.
Thank you
in
so
the
much.
House.
All right, she's listening, so she heard you. Thank you so much for calling.
Okay, continue keeping up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
All right.
I do want to, could I respond to the point of the lady
Please.
who called? I know
Yes.
she probably called from the government. I feel some type of way if the budget that was just expressed put the nurses and the teachers in the budget, yet the teachers still fighting, yet the nurses voted to strike yesterday or several days ago. Why is this? Does the nurses have no faith that the government will pay them, or the teachers have no faith? Sometimes, you just wonder about those things. And I do appreciate the information from the lady, and we would hope that when the budget is passed, that those persons will be paid immediately. So we do appreciate that.
All right. I just got booted out of the studio. I think it's the internet connection, so I'm trying to get back in.
We can still hear you, though. I can still hear
Yeah,
you.
I know that you can through the GPS camera. So, okay, I think I'm back now. So let me try and add myself back to the stream. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, we're back up. Okay. The next item under the values, defining the values of the preamble, is the value of loyalty. That's a big one.
Yeah, and it was a pretty short chapter. However, it's a big idea, and it leaves a lot of things that I've written is leaves for even greater input by persons, because it really starts the conversation in regards to what we should be doing as a nation, regards to loyalty. And of course, we know it speaks to patriotism in office. It speaks to the commitment to country, about the citizenry. It speaks to persons in the government going outside of the country to sell out the government. We know that has happened before. We speak to economic loyalty, whether the money of persons in the country or leaders in the country is outside the country. I always say this, Michelle. I always tell people, when people in government are whether embezzling money or stealing money or getting money other than what they have declared, you can always watch where their children are. That's usually where they send their money. They
Mm.
buy their children cars and condominiums and houses and bank accounts in the place where their children are. You can always find. So whoever's investigating, I'm just giving them a secret as to how to find the money. Just follow their children. But we speak to that in terms of people putting their money outside the country, why they're doing it. The people in the government is telling Bahamians not to have bank accounts out of the country, that it's illegal to do so. Yet members of the government has bank accounts outside of the country. We speak to that issue. And then, of course, there's another issue we speak to about in this chapter about tax havens and blacklistings, how it is that the government of the Bahamas, how we manage billions and trillions of dollars over the term that we have been doing it, and where these monies come from. Sometimes we do not at all even concerned about where these monies come from. That's why we've been blacklisted over the term. Some people have stolen the money of retirement fund and bring it to the Bahamas. As a tax haven, we've managed it, we've kept it. And I think to a great degree, I have a problem because while we are doing that, we have not been allowing Bahamians to be involved in that industry. You know, we've allowed foreigners to own the industry of offshore banking. So I have a lot of interest in this, that we as a people, we must reconstruct how we can perceive ourselves to be a tax haven and how we perceive to be ourselves an offshore industry. That much of this trillions of dollars that are available for our management should be put on the table to be invested in the Bahamas if it's money that's credible from somewhere else. If not, this money cannot be invested in the Bahamas, then I wonder whether it should even be managed in the Bahamas, whether it is good money and whether it should be managed. So I do bring up that as part of the issue as when we look at loyalty and what we should be doing regarding these matters.
Let's talk about something that you just touched on for a moment there. Are we in danger of having our national identity eroded because of all of the challenges that we're experiencing with the illegal immigration problem, that there are many within our borders who do not have a loyalty to the Bahamas, some of whom have been born here and no fault of their own cannot be or are having difficulty receiving national status. And honestly, they have very little allegiance to this country because for many, this country has been a source of pain. So are we in danger of having our national identity weakened because of this apparent limited loyalty?
That is a very big question. And that big question is because it's a big situation and problem that has been basically encouraged by the successive governments of the Bahamas. I'm saying that because when we look at the illegal immigration problem, that is a different problem from legal migration. And that is also a different problem from citizenship. Because when we look at persons, maybe go to the Constitution, and we look at who should be a citizen or who should have access to citizenry, it is clear. Based on Article 7, Article 9, all of these articles speak to who should be or who should have consideration or who should have access to it. That is different from the illegal immigration problem. Successive governments have pandered to the illegal immigration to some degree, and that is the reason why they have determined not to deal with the problem. If a child was born in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to a person who was here by legal reasons, whether it's a work permit or whether they were a legal resident, that child has access to being a citizen at the age of 18. The point is, if the parent status expired and when the child was about 14 or 15 and they have to leave the country, then they should leave the country. They should be, whether they have to be deported, whatever it is, if they have to leave the country, they have to. However, the child, whether the child has been deported with the parent, even if the parent was illegal, and deported with the parent, the child at 18 can come back and apply for citizenship. I know of many children who had that situation. They are now citizens in the country. A lot of what we have done is we have neglected to deal with the illegality of the persons in the country, and we have allowed that to go on forever. If you are here and you have a child here and you have to be sent back because you are illegal, you should be sent back forthwith. That does not determine that the child who was born here cannot come back in 18 years and become a citizen. Right. But I think what we have done is we've neglected to whether normalize that child in a timely fashion, and we cause that child to feel angered, especially if they've lived here all of their life, and then we want them to be a Haitian till they're 28, and then at 28 we want to make them a citizen. They are never going to be loyal because they were Haitian until they're 28. They are Haitian citizen, and they will feel more loyalty to the Haitian than they will feel to the Bahamas. So if you're born here and you live here for 18 years, you should have some level of normalcy. So if your parents were sent back, fine. If your parents is here still working legally, then you should normalize that child. Why is it that we are allowing at 18 a person who have lived here from birth to 18 to now cannot get a way to go to college, cannot get some status? Yeah. We have done this injustice, and we expect people who are Haitians till they're 28 to become suddenly Bahamians and be loyal. It's not going to happen.
We have a caller. We have a call on the line, Ali. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To you, your guest, and your faithful listeners.
Good afternoon.
I want to say this. The principle or idea of just dealing or right actions is justice. Okay? Everyone in the world deserves to be just and to have justice. When I listen to the Minister of Tourism, as he speaks to going his trip to England and as it relates to the vaccine and so forth, he don't see why the foreigners coming or people leaving the Bahamas going to foreign should have to pay for this vaccine. And I need our leaders, no disrespect to our Deputy Prime Minister and the great New Day team, even though our guest is the servant leader, Ali McIntosh, today. I want him to know, them, the leaders of our country, our people deserve justice. Do what is right for us. Justice is what we asking for, okay? What you feel, I feel. What you did, I need, and I mean the Bahamian people, with no disrespect to any side, in light of all that happened, is happening, and will happen. This nation is too wealthy for the people to be acting like animals. We are acting like animals, and then expecting to be treated like educated, God-saving people acting like beasts and animals. That ain't gonna happen. The government, not the corrupt officials, the government of every nation is the minister of Yahweh Elohim. And when you choose leaders to be to go in your government and to lead your country,
You have to understand. Look at your life before you start pointing fingers at that government. Because at the end of the day, the corruption in that government will come to light, and you're going to see what's going to happen to it. And as your government brings light to what should and must happen to corrupt officials who will not give justice, who think justice is too hard for the people who put them there. I need you all to comprehend me in the name of Jesus Christ, the Yeshua, the one what matters. This country and any country will never be anything, or at least end up to anything, until you recognize that without Jesus Christ, and I want the black people to know, Jesus is not, because he might have been black, and we really don't know what color he is. He's the color of the day. The scriptures say the Most High sent Savior with an S. Now, hear me. If you're saying Amos Jr. Miller, because I love myself, I have to love you, because I love myself. And I only have one nation. How many nations do you have? How many lives do you have? Why are we acting like beasts and animals towards each other and expect, government officials, some of them are now being brought before the court. We're not talking about these people. We're talking about the office, the principle of what a government represents. What is the principle of democracy? It is the role of our prime minister, okay, as it relates to the Bahamas, okay, to recognize that justice does matter. The rule of law must be first when it comes to government.
Okay, so Amos, I need you to bring this home.
Bring it home now.
Yeah.
I have to say all that to let them know.
Do you have a question? Do you have a question for our guest?
I close my dear. Mr. 52. I turned 52 June 2nd. I had to say all of that to let them know I coming back to deal with what they put in that vaccine and put in Amos Jr. Miller. That's my sacrifice.
All right.
ABA.
Thanks for calling, Amos Jr. Miller. We're going to take a break. Because I didn't hear a question in there, Ali. So I don't know if you have anything.
Not a single question.
Okay. All right. So we're going to take this break. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Ali McIntosh, servant leader, who is also now author, Ali McIntosh, author of the book, How to Reconstruct a Nation. And we're talking about the principles of the preamble of the Constitution of the Bahamas. So stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from, you wanted to say something, Ali, real quick?
Yeah, I wanted to say before we go on the break that what I've added to my name is the chairman of the Josiah Institute, which is being relaunched. And the purpose of that is to teach the nation what it is that we need to know in these non-political times, so that people can see what we need to do when political times do come.
Okay,
so
we can give you an opportunity to talk about that in more detail a little later in the show.
Okay.
All right, let's take this break. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. You are tuned in to GPS.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. And my guest today is S. Ali McIntosh. Ali is an author, has written the book, How to Reconstruct a Nation. Ali is doing a little something off camera, so I can just go to a single shot while I wait for Ali to turn her camera back on. She's back. She was doing a little segment. We caught her off guard.
Powdering the nose.
The telephone numbers to call in case you'd like to join in on this discussion are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272. And the WhatsApp line to send us a message in case you don't want to, have your voice heard. The WhatsApp number to send a message is 824-9952, 824-9952. Of course, we are streaming live on Facebook on several different platforms. You've got we're streaming live on the Global Radio official page on Facebook. We're streaming live on the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page. So go ahead and like both pages. So if you can't sit by a radio to listen to us on 99.5 FM, then you can also catch us on Facebook. You can even catch us on YouTube. So we make it easy for you, not just limited to those of you here at home, but if you're traveling or if you're listening in or watching from some other country around the world, just give us a shout. Let us know you're there. And we will definitely say thank you so much for being there. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, wanting to get your products or services out to the audience that we have developed and continue to develop every day, just give us a call. Again, the numbers are 326-0271, 326-0272, and let our team know that you are interested in having your business or product advertised on this show. All right, we would appreciate the support. Okay, so we're talking to S. Ali McIntosh. The title of the show this week is the state of the state, and boy, are we in a state. And so we are talking about what needs to happen to elevate where we are as a nation. And much of the conversation centered around the contents of Ali's book. One other value that you highlighted in the book is the value of unity. The value of unity. Explain what kind of unity you are talking about and why that is important.
The value of unity, and I almost based on something that person who was on, was that Amos somebody?
Amos
Remind me to go back to Amos Miller. But as you are speaking about unity, I'm trying to find a chapter in that regard, page 163 in the book, talking about unity. It is very interesting. When we talk about unity, it comes back to the point of what makes us a nation. And if there is a reason why we should be unified, or why we should use unity, or why the founders use unity as a very important value in the building of a nation. When we look at any society, and most societies that are first world countries, a lot of who they are, the citizenry, the matter of unity is very important, because that is a glue that keeps the society together. And so we must produce a society that has a commitment of loyalty to the nation. But loyalty cannot be built without unity, in the concept of unity. In this book that we have all of the symbols of unity: the flag, the coat of arms, the national anthem, the pledge. All of these signifies what makes us Bahamian. And when our athletes like Shawnee Ferguson and all of the rest of them, my favorite, Pauline Davis and Avad Monker and Fred, Frank Rutherford, when they went out and they won those medals, we were unified as Bahamian because of the flying of that flag. And we were so excited about them prospering and excelling on the world stage. But beyond just what we see out of the country, and when we are competing against other countries, what about unity within the internal of the country? What should we be doing? What I've seen is that we have created in our politics what we almost call tribalism. And so that tribalism in the politics have created such a level of disunity in the country that has expelled and is spilled over into everything. Bahamians only defend the Bahamas when it's against something else, someone else, something out of the country. Somebody say something bad about the country, we call them, we say all that CYC and all that stuff. We cuss them out. But what about unity among ourselves of who we are? If we are going to produce a more just society, a more fair society, we're going to have to do that by being united on who we are and the values that we stand for. That has to be a paramount, that we must be unified in that concept. If we are not, we will continue to run this gamut of what we are doing that is causing many people to flee the country because they don't feel comfortable. That living here, I have a right to be here, I feel comfortable, and what is being done for me on my behalf by my government is what needs to be done, and that I am going to have reciprocal feeling of goodwill as a citizen of the country. So unity is a double fold, is a double-edged sword, but it is something that has to be considered for our internal clients, which is the Bahamian people. And I'm speaking as a perspective from leadership. It has to be considered in that regard, as well as unity when we are dealing with outside of the country and other countries.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about politics, why it is so polarizing. And, contrary to public thought or public opinion, it's not just the two major parties where we see this. It's something about politics that causes people to lose all sense of reason, because once you are perceived to be saying something that does not agree with the philosophy of their party, you become public enemy number one. They want to go for your jugular because you dare say something that doesn't line up with what they believe. And I have seen this, not just from the PLP and the FNM, but from some of the the French parties as well. And I'm saying to myself, I want to have a private caucus with all of these leaders to figure out how to do that. How you always get these people to be so rabid to the point where something will be staring them right in the face and they will not be able to identify that as truth because it goes against their political philosophy. I want to learn how to do that.
No, that's
what
something you should learn. I don't think that's anything that we should learn. Because
I'm obviously being facetious when I say that, but
yeah,
it's crazy.
In the creating of a new country, a new nation, there are some values that we have to dispel, because that is one of them. The fact that we can see truth, but we don't want to accept it because it's not our truth. It's a problem. Truth is naked. It doesn't have clothes or colors. So we have to accept truth as being what it is, whether Ali says it, whether Michelle says it, whether Brave says it, Brave Davis says it, the Prime Minister, or whether the leader of the opposition says it. If it's truth, it's truth. If it's not truth, it's not truth. It doesn't matter who say it. And we have, in this regard, polarized the society and leadership. And see, what I've said in this whole book is that all of the ideas, right, that have come before us has been the same. The political, the PLP and the FNM to this date has been the same political cloth. And so in their creating of the tribalism, it has been we against them. And not just the party PLP against the FNM, it's been the leadership against the people. So they have created this environment for their supporters to go against the other supporters because we need to win. One of us need to win. We've heard a political leader say, if it's not me, it's going to be you. But it certainly won't be Ali. Certainly won't be the third parties. Because why? We need to maintain this tribalism so that we continue this whole system, this whole garment of keeping the country polarized and not unified. And let me tell you something, Michelle, in this final thought, in this regard. When you live in strife, you cannot prosper. So the Bahamian people living in this level of strife, this low energy that we have been calibrating on, we are not going to prosper. The country will never prosper as long as the level of strife and disunity exists to keep us polarized, that we don't see the truth, not facts, the truth. Because people can say some things, which the truth is fact sometimes, and sometimes this might be the fact, but it's not the truth. The point is we must recreate, and in order to recreate a new political culture, we need values to do it. Without the values going back to the preamble of the Constitution, which are all values, we are not going to be able to recreate a new culture for this Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Well, it seems, Ali, that we as a nation have misplaced our true north. We don't know where that is
Wow. I do believe so. You know why? And in the second, I think it's the third the third section of the book, we talk about righteous governance. We talk about the concept of servant leadership and transformational leadership, and what it is that we should see happening. We talked about the concept of government and what they should be doing. But the point that we have gotten to a point where we have, number one, as a nation for the many 2 decades, walked away from the preamble of the Constitution and doing our own things, we can obviously not find North anymore, because we have misplaced the boundaries. We have misplaced what is good. We've called good evil and evil good. And we have encouraged people to go after that. We've encouraged people that it's all right to prostitute, to get your job. If you need it, do what you got to do. Yeah. Why would somebody say that to somebody? Whatever you have to do it for that job. And it's not within the vein of industry and doing whatever job it is, because cleaning the road, all of that is important.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
I'm getting kind of passionate.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ali McIntosh.
Good afternoon, caller. How are you?
How you doing?
I am quite well, sir.
Yeah, my first question, Ms. McIntosh.
Yes, sir.
This country would be a better country, it'd be more united than divided. You agree or disagree?
I quite agree, sir.
Yeah. Now, my thing is, earlier you were mentioning that persons who who are persons, at least persons who are born there, persons who like came here illegally and their status was restrained, they have children and they deported and they come back at the age of 18 to have status. And that happens, right? But Ms. McIntosh, if you want to be I'm talking about a monolithic society or a society that isn't divided, why is it that these same individuals, I mean, like we have persons from all around the world who we give our passport to, right? But why is it that these persons from Haiti, they choose to give us a different language? I mean, like I know it's supposed to be a monolithic society. We must have like this English language which we speak, and we ain't got to try to figure out whether they're talking in Creole or Chinese, Mandarin, or whatever language it is, because English will be the language that's mandated for this country. Hello?
We're listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, we here. Go
And I
ahead.
mean, like right now, today I guess there are something that's put upon us that I guess we didn't bargain for, but we have got to learn Creole. And it's in the hospital, all those things about letting people know where to go, whatever. And I mean, like, I think we should, I mean, like, if persons come in, they want to be a Bahamian, they need to be a Bahamian. We talk English, we speak English. You want to talk the other language, you can talk English, but then for the sake of public documents and everything, we keeping it with just English, because anything other than that is going to be, got to find out one day that eventually the English language is going to be tossed out the door. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've asked you, do you read the Tribune online?
Sometimes.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been reading it. I mean, like, that's what I do most of the time, right? But you know what I find, right? And I find that every time you read a story, and one time ago, at least a couple of months ago, you could just read like the comments, right? But now it is like at the end of the story, you have this gay person, this white man, and he has red eyes, and like he's crying, and his blue eyes, and I mean red in the face, and I mean like I don't know what that is, and I mean it's like why I mean like if everyone want to live the kind of lifestyle they want to live, right? Why is it that I mean like if I ain't interested in that, why they could be pushing that like that?
So this is not what that show's about, and I'm not going to take time.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. But you have a nice day.
Thank you so
Ali
much
can
for
answer the question I asked, Chris.
All right, Ali, did you?
I think his question, and I quite agree, because I got it from the point of Amos when he began the idea of how do we create a just and fair society. I mean, you know, Bahamians leave Nassau and they go to the United States and they have babies, right? The reason they do that is they want their children to be a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the same happens with the Haitian and people from everywhere. Not only Haitian people come here, but people come here and have their babies because they're trying to make their children citizen of the country. If we're going to create a just and fair society, it must be based on the rule of law. The rule of law is very important if we are going to do, or anything within the society is based on the rule of law. But it's the work and the responsibility of government to protect the society from both external and internal injury, which means they must protect the sovereignty of the nation, and they must protect the nation from any invasion. It is their duty. And I'm saying that because based on what the gentleman just said and what Amos had said earlier, when we talk about illegal immigration, successive governments have allowed it to perpetrate. However, what if people are born in this country and they want to be Bahamians, then they should be Bahamians. The government must remember that concept also. So as I said earlier, we cannot expect somebody who was born here and live here all of their life, and you call them a Haitian, for them to be loyal to this state. They are a Bahamian, and we must act like that. And I'm not saying that for Haitians, for us to make a Haitian state. This is a Bahamian state. But if a Haitian, a Jamaican, a Chinese, or whoever come here and they become a citizen here, they must be a Bahamian, not a citizen from somewhere else. So the loyalty has to be to the state that they live in. We cannot make them Haitians and then turn around and expect for them to be loyal to the Bahamian state. The job of the government is to protect the state, and everyone who comes here must submit to that law. And if they can't, then they must be expelled. Read the Constitution. If you cannot submit to being a Bahamian and loyal to the Bahamian state, then you must leave. So we are there pandering to the Haitian people, saying, oh, you are one of us. We are one of you. What does the Haitian state has to do with the Bahamian state? The Bahamian state is the Bahamian state. And every government and every politician who wants to pander to other people to make them feel that our sovereignty is going to be compromised by their sovereignty, that's an issue. I have an issue with that. We must stop that and desist with that. That is why we are concerned, Bahamians are concerned about us becoming a Haitian state. We are not a Haitian state, and we should not be, and it's the responsibility of all those politicians before us who has done that to make people feel you can come here whether from Haiti or Jamaica or wherever you come, and do whatever you can and whatever you want in this country. It cannot happen. The purpose of the government is to protect the Bahamian state. So if you come from Haiti or your child was born here and you are from Haiti, you must teach them. You are here now in the Bahamas. You operate like a Bahamian. You obey the law because you are Bahamian. I'm from Haiti. You are Bahamian. We want our children to do it in America. So if we're going to do it in America, we do it here. But the government's responsibility is to protect the Bahamian state. And when they are not doing that, we must expel them from government because they are perpetrating what we are trying not to, what Bahamian affairs are about. We must do it.
That's very powerful, Ali. We have to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at another part of the preamble of the Constitution that is, boy, this one could get people going in a discussion, and that is an abiding respect for Christian values. Is that the same as saying we are a Christian nation? We're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, fuel, track life, tough, rough racing, velocity, mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with my guest today, S. Ali McIntosh, author of How to Reconstruct a Nation. And we're talking about contents of our book as it relates to our topic today, which is the state of the state. And telephone numbers to call if you want to join in on the discussion are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272. And the WhatsApp number to send us a message is 824-9952. Now, every so often you're going to hear, this is a Christian nation. We are a Christian nation. And persons who say that base that statement on the preamble of the Constitution. But the preamble of the Constitution actually says that we should have an abiding respect for Christian values. The two aren't necessarily the same, are they, Ali?
Michelle, it is that has always been something for a much variation in terms of the conversation. But for persons going online and getting the ebook, a lot of that is included in that based on what Sir Lyndon Pindling said and what the creator of the preamble, Sir Arthur Folks, said on the issue. So let's ask people to please get the ebook, howtoreconstructanation.com. Go online. They are going to be able to go to a link to download it or look at it online, and they're going to be able to hear what Sir Lyndon and Sir Randall and Sir Arthur Folks said about the preamble of the Constitution, whether having an abiding respect for Christian values, it makes the nation Christian. Something that Sir Arthur Folks said regarding the nation being Christian, he said the thinking was based on the aspiration of the people who fought for majority rule, who fought the nation was a nation of prayer. People was fighting to come out of colonialism, and they brought that Christian value to the table. And so when they create the nation, including the preamble, they put the aspirations of the Bahamian people in, which was the Christian values. And so what their determination was, because we were people with Christian principles, and we have created the nation on that and saying an abiding respect for Christian values means that that would be the way that we should govern. And because the nation looked to those principles, that in a general sense made the nation a Christian nation. And the reason I'm saying that is because we have nations who are Islamic nation, who believes in fundamental Islamic views in which they govern the nation. The nation is actually governed by the clerics in that society. Same thing happened with Hindu nations and nations whose principal religion is based on what their nation carries. And so it was with the Bahamas, because we created on the values of Christian principles. In general, we were considered or are considered to be a Christian nation.
But when you go to, I mean, you touched on it when you're talking about those Hindu states and Muslim states. It is actually, you could run yourself into problems with the law if you bust up and they're talking about, I am here, a Christian, and I push in the gospel of Jesus Christ. You could find yourself in trouble because that. Right. So, but not so here. Here, we allow other religions. We allow people to come in and worship freely. And they may not agree with our Christian standpoint, but we don't stop them from exercising their religion. So from a legal perspective, are we truly a Christian nation, or are we just a nation that has an abiding respect for Christian values?
Only in a Christian, let me point out here that Christianity in a nation has principles that are not apparent.
Did we lose you? She's frozen right now, so hopefully her link will clear up momentarily, hopefully. In the meantime, if you want to, while we're waiting for Ali's link to come out of that, 3260271, 3260271, and she's back, 3260272. Okay, we got you back now, Ali. You have to unmute your microphone. Unmute your microphone.
Sorry about that.
There you go. Okay.
The fact that we were talking about the other nations who allow and provide for their religion, their principal religion, to be what governs their nation. However, the same thing happens with the Bahamas. I mean, the Christian principles placed on the table, the concept for the freedom of religion, the freedom to speak your mind, the freedom to go about your business, only in a Christian nation, only in a democratic nation will those values be. Other nations, you can't do those things. And that's why we maintain that, because we allow for the Rastafarians, we allow for the Muslims, for the Hindus to come in, for the Jews to come in and have their temple. Their principles will not be promoted and pushed, but the abiding respect means we will continue to stay in the middle of that road for democracy to prevail, for the freedom of religion to prevail. It can only happen in a Christian nation. It will not happen in any other nation based on religious principles. Only in a Christian nation is those concepts going to be continually on the table. And that is what is why we continue to maintain the fact, based on the preamble of the Constitution, based on an abiding respect for Christian values, that we will continue to do this in this regard.
What do you think of those who argue that we should push for a separation of church and state?
Of course, everyone has their views. The preamble of the Constitution will not stand behind that, because the concept of the Constitution, the concept of the preamble, is what gives way to Chapter 3 of the Constitution, which is the freedom of everyone's fundamental rights. So the matter of separating, we don't have church and state as a one institution. It is not. But the founders knew that the church and the value of the church and the principles of the church were part of the values that push the government into being and into existence. That's why it is to be maintained. Church is an institution, the state is an institution. It only, what we're saying here, is that the church have a right to bring their view to the table relating to public policy, relating to good governance and how we run the nation. So asking that that does not happen is to say that the biggest constituency in the nation, which is the church, must stay out of the government's business. That is totally unacceptable because the church has a lot of people who are valuable, has a lot of ideas, a lot of value that they bring to the table that must be a part of how we govern the nation. And persons who say that simply want the nation to be secularized, that we do whatever and we create public policy on every other agenda other than the values of Christian principles.
Yeah, and here's the thing, for people who say, "Oh, y'all need to be quiet." Why? I live in this country just like you, and if you have a right to express your views and expect them to be given a fair audience, why should my right be taken away because I happen to be a believer? I don't understand where that argument comes in, because I am being impacted by every decision that's made just as you are, and therefore my voice should be heard just as your voice should be heard. So yeah, okay, so we don't have a lot of time left. Time has gone quickly. Respect for the rule of law. My God from heaven, the great God from Zion. Okay, now this one right here couldn't be more timely, because Lord, we see our parliamentarians being hauled before the courts. What a time. What does respect for the rule of law mean?
Listen, when you read it, and the chapter is not very long, but it brings to the concept that we spoke out earlier, just to bring it concretely to the point. There has to be a commitment by the people who govern the nation. This respect for the rule of law goes strictly to the leadership of the nation, the country. That the respect for the rule of law is both the rulers and the people live by the same standard of the law. The also respect for the rule of law is that the people, or even the definition of the rule of law, is that the people have a right to know what the government is doing on their behalf. They have a right to know that. That's why for 20-something years, I spoke about the matter of the Freedom of Information Act, and to bring that to the table, that we have a right to know what our government is doing on behalf of us. Mm-hmm. So when we see what's happening in the country, we are realizing that we have pushed the rule of law from the paramount position of an abiding respect for the rule of law. So that's where we are now. The rule of law, like all of the other values, have been pushed aside, and we will use it when we need it.
Is there a case, and this is one of your chapters of your book, is there a case for higher ethics and morality in public life?
Oh, yeah, we did speak to that because of the fact that if we have seen, and we've seen it, and that chapter is I love that chapter, because it brings to mind whether we should be doing what is based on the law, on the rule of law, or we should be doing it based on anybody else's concept or on any other's standard of morality. Sometimes we talk about morality and I'm not a moral person, but the whole point of morality is a standard of which good and bad is established. That's what the whole point of morals are. It is a standard. People say all the time, we shouldn't be legislating morality, but morality is the only thing that we can legislate, because what it is the codification in law of some moral concerns. We put in law that we should not kill, and we should not steal. These are commandments. We should not commit adultery. We should not covet. These are moral concerns. So when we put them in law, we are legislating morality. When we determine what we will do other than what is the standard for good and evil, then we are legislating immorality. That's why it's important that who you put in office, it is important because what they put in public policy becomes law, and we all must be guided by it. And one thing that D. James Kennedy, God rest his soul, said, it is important to legislate morality so that the immorality of a few is not forcibly enforced or inflicted on the rest of us. So we must have a standard for what is good in society. We must have a standard as to where we should live. There is in the Constitution something called the public morality. What we should have, what we should see. We shouldn't see people having sex on the park or walking around naked, coming off the cruise ship with a bikini on. This is what we have determined is the public morality that the citizens should be able to expect in their society. And it is the responsibility of the government to protect the public morality. That's why it is important to legislate the standard by which we live and the people are governed in the society.
And I guess with that train of thought, then once we have established what that is for our nation, then all those who come here are expected to, by what you're saying, live up to those standards, or at least for the time that they are here. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the founders intended that. That's why they put it in the Constitution. We know back in the days, people could not come off the ship unless they had on a shorts and a shirt. They were not allowed to walk around in bikini and a wrap just thrown around them. They were not allowed to do that. So when they said that men can't walk together holding hands or kissing in the society. These were things that were not supposed to happen, and it was predicated by the founding fathers to do so. So once we do that, visitors to these islands must adhere to those rules and regulations. But because we have put tourism as the cash cow, we allow anything to happen based on that agenda.
All right. One final aspect, because obviously we can't cover the entire contents of the book. We pretty much most of the show is covering, one section. And the final aspect of that section is legitimacy and moral authority. What does that mean exactly?
You know, this is one of my very favorite topics, and there's a lot to be had in the book. We just really introduced some of the ideas. I'm trying to find the chapter, Legitimacy and Moral Authority, page 193. Yeah. Legitimacy and moral authority. When I was doing the research for that, Michelle, I had no idea what I was looking for. Really, I was like, Lord, what am I looking for? I'm trying to establish this case, but I couldn't figure out what the case was until I found the article by Dr. Gregory Foster that said the legitimacy and what is established in legitimacy and trust in terms of your government will be very important as to how we go forward. So with legitimacy and trust, let me I try to find it. With legitimacy and trust, it is a matter of whether a government and administration is legitimate based on the operations of that administration or based on the law, but based on what that administration do throughout its term. There is a possibility to erode the legitimacy of an administration based on how they operate. Because when it comes to legitimacy, it can be from a high legitimacy all the way down to low legitimacy, to a point where citizens feel that we don't trust the leaders, we don't trust the government, we don't trust that we're going to get justice. All of that comes within the concept of legitimacy. And when it comes to legitimacy, the greater the coercion is in a society, the less there is the level of legitimacy. Because if we have to harass the citizens, or we have to put the government, the police, the armed forces on the citizens, we have to tap their phones, we have to harass them, police coming to their homes saying, boy, if you don't do so and so, we're going to put you in jail when you know there is no legitimate reason. All of that is determined how a government is viewed regarding their legitimacy. As you said, I can't read all of it, but that matter of legitimacy is so important based on how we deal with different indicators of legitimacy, like the freedom of the press, freedom of association, freedom of demonstration, the people's right to demonstrate, the degree in which the government uses the armed force for their own personal good or their own partisan politics. This is important. And so it's important that when we look at how the government is operating, how they are using public servants and public institutions for themselves, determine whether they do have a moral compass or they are simply operating on enriching themselves, benefiting their own partisan politics. And that is important. And as you know, we see that clear as day in this Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I mean, even over the term, over successive governments, as to how this is operated.
Wow, Ali, we covered quite a bit of ground on this show. Only 5 minutes left, and I promised you I was going to give you an opportunity to talk about the Josiah Institute. So go ahead and tell us about that for the next 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're going to wrap things up.
Yeah, the Josiah Institute was formed, has been in my mind for many, many years, with the view, as I was writing this book over the last 20 years, with the view of establishing an institution to train leaders for good governance. You can go to our website, thejosiahinstitute.com. The purpose of that institute, like the Kennedy Institute in Washington and others that train leaders, this was created officially in 2018 for the purpose of training not only the leadership in the nation, but also public servants. So we are an institute that's recognized by NACORP, which is the National Organization or Committee for Accreditation of Schools. And so we are relaunching our platform this coming 3rd of July. We will have our first symposium. It is the beginning or the launch of a year of symposium when we will be teaching on how to reconstruct a nation. So from a non-political platform, we will invite other authors, other persons to contribute to how do we reconstruct the nation economically, socially, culturally, community-wise. That forum is going to be powerful. Look out for those persons, for the flyers who are going to be able to speak on the issues. On the 3rd, we have Dr. Jacinta Higgs, we have Dr. Chris Curry, myself, we have Dr. Hastings Johnson, and Pastor Glenn Roll will be the authors for that symposium. And we will begin the discussion as we count down to Jubilee for the Bahamian people to get the kind of inspiration and information as to what the nation should look like and what is their responsibility in getting it done. And so I simply serve as the chairman of the Institute. Our president is Sandra Smith, and we have a whole board, but if you go online, the website, you will see all of them. But that is so that in these non-political times, people will understand what it means to create a first world nation out of what we have as a third world nation. And that's important if we want to go to the next level and calibrate higher, as you say, higher energy.
Good stuff. Real quick, Ali, where once again can the people get the book? And then we are going to sign off.
Okay, you can go online, wherever you are in the world, go online, How to Reconstruct a Nation. All of the information, all of the phone numbers are there. We are on Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Christian Living Books, our publisher. So everywhere you can find the book, ebooks and regular books. If you are in Nassau or in the Bahamas, you can call 423-2709, 423-2709, WhatsApp, or regular cell. We will be able to deliver a copy to you as soon as possible. So 423-2709, send us a WhatsApp, send us an email. We will be able to send you a link so you can pay for a book. It will be delivered to you.
Ali McIntosh, thank you so much. It's always good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me, Michelle. I really appreciate. Blessings on you. And blessings
to you
on
too.
the people.
All right, time is gone. Thank you, Ali. Time is gone. Got to get out of here. Tomorrow on a Wellness Wednesday, we're talking about thyroid health. And you are going to learn, if you are having an issue with the thyroid, how to heal naturally. I'm so excited to bring that show to you tomorrow because I can relate. So see you tomorrow. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is